Ladies, gentlemen, today I'm going to be giving you my honest take on the Omega Seamaster Professional 300 meter diver. Now, as usual, I am not Watchbox, so this isn't going to be a in-depth technical review of the watch. I'm just mainly going to be giving you my opinions on what it's like to wear, what it's like to live with, what I like about it and what I don't like about it. So full disclosure, I bought this watch with my own money. I do not have any relationship with Omega or any other watch dealer. So let that be said. Okay, so let's start real quick with a few very basic specifications, which I think are quite important. So this watch is obviously an automatic watch. So as you wear it and move around, it powers the movement. It has quite a neat 55-hour power reserve, so that is quite good. And I'm only saying that because I'm coming from wearing a lot of Bremonts, who I believe are only 38-hour power reserves. So I think the movement inside of this watch is what Omega calls their master chronometer caliber 8800. And then they've got some fancy coaxial escapement thing going on in the name as well, which I have no idea what that actually is. What I can tell you though is that it's got a silicon hairspring. The hairspring is a tiny little spring in there that helps with the movement basically. And the cool thing about it being silicon is that it is amagnetic, so that it won't get magnetized if you are going through security in an airport or wearing this close to your laptop speakers. You don't have to worry about it getting magnetized. In fact, this has a anti-magnetic rating of up to 15,000 Gauss, which I think is the level of magnetism that you would be getting shot at if you were inside of an MRI machine. So that's pretty cool about this watch. You don't really have to worry about it being magnetized. So again, that's going to be helping in our quality of life in everyday wear. So the case is 42 millimeters wide. I know for some people that's not great. They think it's perhaps too big. I know the older one of these was 41, and a lot of people were quite upset when Omega decided to make the case wider to 42. For me personally, it's not really a problem. I'm a fan of slightly bigger watches. I've got a 7-inch wrist, give or take, and I quite like the watch to have a bit of wrist presence. And of course, yeah, on my wrist it doesn't fit bad at all, so I'm okay with the 42 millimeter case. The height of the watch is, for me, quite thin. I think it was 13.56 millimeters or something like that. And again, for some people, perhaps that's quite tall. For me, no problem at all. Again, I come from wearing quite a lot of Bremonts who make quite thick, burly watches. So this to me is quite a small watch, let's say. What else? So it's got this ceramic dial, which is very, very glossy and quite reflective and shiny. Do I like that? It's I like it. It looks great. You can't deny that this watch looks great. It reflects light quite magnificently, but at the same time, it's quite jazzy and it's quite in your face. I mean, look at the light reflections. So yeah, I do like it, but at the same time, it's a little bit loud perhaps for me. But nonetheless, it is beautiful. It's quite amazing to stare at, and this watch does sort of change depending on the light. So every time you sort of glance down at your wrist to have a look, you'll probably get a different sort of looking face on the watch, which is, yeah, it's good. It could be contentious in that you might want your watch to look the same every single time you look down at it. This kind of changes, depending on the light and the day. The bezel is not loomed, so these numbers won't be popping up in the dark. However, the pip here at the 12 o'clock mark is loomed, so at least that can be a reference point. What else? The dial inside of the watch is also ceramic, which again contributes to that glossy, very glossy and shiny reflective finish. Omega's brought back the waves in the dial. I think the last iteration of this model, Omega decided to take the waves off the dial. So the very first one of these had the wave dial. Then the second iteration of this, I believe, they took the waves out. And then for this, I think in 2018, this model came out and they brought the waves back. Do I like the waves? I'm in two minds about the waves. I do think that they go quite well with the sort of the brand and the heritage of this watch, but I would have also been quite happy without the waves. I think they're quite deeply laser etched, as you can see. What I will say is that I think I prefer the wave dial of the first generation, so if it was a bit more like that, I think I would have preferred it a bit more. So yeah, in two minds about this current iteration of the wave dial. What else? So the hands are skeletonized, as you can see, so they've got a gap inside of them and they are chrome. Not a problem with them. I quite like the fact that they're chrome, and so is the seconds hand here. It sort of matches the rest of the glossy and polished parts of the watch, so no issues there. I do quite like, however, on the first gen the hour hand was straight. That's quite a nice touch. I would have maybe preferred it if the hour hand was straight, but yeah, again, no major contention. I do like this as well. The hands are perfectly fine. They are long enough and you can tell the time really well on this watch, so no real issues with the hands as they are. So the lugs are sort of quite interesting. They've got some bits of polish and then the side of the case is brushed. I like the look of the watch. I think it looks quite brilliant. I really like the scalloped bezel actually, but we'll come to that in a minute when we talk about the bezel. I really like the look of the bezel for sure. The shape of the bezel's very lovely, and also I like the look of the case. It's got some interesting design features going on. It's not just sort of straight and boring, let's say. It's got some cool lines going on there, and a mixture of polish and brushed finishes, so good work there. So moving on, what is it like to wear? What's it like to live with on an everyday sort of basis? So let's do a wrist shot, because I know, as usual, when I watch these videos, we want to see this on the wrist. Okay, so here it is on the wrist. Of course, this usually comes on the bracelet, the Omega bracelet, which is actually a fantastic bracelet. I really like it. But bracelets are just slightly too dressy for me. I'm out knocking about quite a lot, moving a lot, working out a lot, and one, it doesn't really fit my style, and two, I'd probably start scratching it and destroying that thing really quickly. So I decided to put it on this rubber Nato from Yellow Dog watch straps. Alex Moss, do check him out. He makes brilliant custom straps, so thank you for that. So on the bracelet, the watch is quite dressy. It can definitely be worn with very smart clothing in the boardroom, as they say. However, on this Nato, it's obviously mega dressed down, which obviously is something that I like. Another point of contention with this watch is the helium escape valve at the 10 o'clock here. This used to be cylindrical and now it's conical. And a lot of people, number one, don't like the helium escape valve, so they'd like to see it done away with altogether. And then on top of that, certain people don't like the fact that it's now conical. They would have rather it be cylindrical and slightly less protruding and more hidden. My thoughts on the helium escape valve: I don't actually have a massive problem with it. In fact, I actually like it. I think it gives the watch character, a little bit more presence. So I don't have an issue with it, but I know a lot of people don't like it and don't like this iteration of it. So what else is there to say about the Seamaster Professional? It's a great watch. The lume is fantastic. It glows really bright and it stays bright for quite a long time. So that's really nice. You've got your applied indices there inside of the dial. Yeah, general thoughts. Obviously, I like the watch. Oh, we haven't talked about the bezel. So the bezel has a lovely detent and the ratcheting feels very nice. Now, a lot of people complain that it is not the easiest to operate because the scalloped edges don't actually provide much grip, and when your hands are dry, that's not an issue. However, if you've been working out and your hands are hot and sweaty, it is a little bit annoying. It can slip a little bit, so it doesn't have the greatest grip, but again, it's not a huge problem, certainly not a deal breaker. I haven't had a massive issue with it. I use this to time how long my tea's been brewing on a daily basis, so I'm using this quite a lot, and I don't have a huge issue with it. I actually like it. It feels very satisfying, and it certainly doesn't have any back play at all or any movement once you've sort of set that into any position. So that's lovely. Yeah, like the bezel, but it is also a contentious one as far as people's opinion goes. So yeah, date function as well, lovely. I can't do a watch that doesn't have a date function. I need to be able to glance at this and yeah, just get some information as to what's going on, what day we are. So guys, I really like this watch. Obviously, I think it's a brilliant piece, and wearing this on a daily basis is yeah, perfectly fine, perfectly viable. You'll get pretty much everything you need. So all in all, I think it's a great watch. You can't really go wrong with it. It's very versatile. You can dress it down like I have on this Rubber Nato, or if you leave it on the bracelet, you can dress it up for sure. I would certainly not call this an everyday beater or a tool watch. You can wear it every day, but yeah, you'd be pretty upset if you scratch this up. I think it's quite a classy watch. Definitely not the kind of thing you'd wear while working on your bike or mowing the lawn. So yeah, although it is a diver, and I know divers are meant to be quite tooly, I just don't think that this design fits that category all that well. I think it's a little bit too classy, a little bit too dressy to be in that category, but if that's what you're into and that's what you're after, this watch is very versatile, very brilliant. Can be worn every day, like I said, and it can be dressed up. So that's it, guys. That is all I have for you guys today. The Omega Seamaster Professional 300 meter diver. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.